Hi, I'm Christine Malong, an apprentice, and welcome to Concipio Tectura. Having trouble in your architectural thesis? Don't know where to start? Well, you've come to the right place. Concipio Tectura provides architectural consultancy that will help your design project to be effective and organized so you wouldn't have to commit common mistakes. What are we waiting for? Sit back, grab your mechanical pen, and let's learn how to design effectively. Welcome to Concipio Tectura's Thesis Clinic.
Good morning. Okay, so for today, for this thesis clinic, I will discuss this very important topic, no. So the title is Key Pointers in Preparing Design Translation. So basically, the thesis clinic or the topic that we will discuss is very particular on how you will translate your research, your approach, your research into your architectural drawings or architectural design drawings. Okay? And siguro this is one of the first topic na I make it a concise discussion kasi these are some of the points na na-observe ko during my deliberation every time na umuupo ako sa mga thesis at sa mga trabaho ng mga students, no. Sige. So of course we are Concipio Tectura. The office behind it, I call it Studio Concipio, which the studio or the class that I'm normally handling sa eskwelahan, no. Sige. Next slide please. Of course I'm Architect Eric Banyo. Of course I'm your mentor. At the same time I'm also your instructor, professor in architecture. Okay, so this is my background. Okay. Sige. Next slide, please. So, I just want to discuss yung about design timeline. Okay? Comparative analysis of architectural education and practice. The reason I started on this particular diagram, on this particular timeline, so that you will understand the relation of your architectural education in school in pertain to your thesis and also to the practice, no. Take note na at the end of the day, whatever you learn from school, you need to apply it in a real world. That's the reason why some of you have your own OJTs kasi it's an application of what you learn in school. So mapapansin natin, if you look at the top portion, no, may tinatawag na standard practice. This will be the normal phases or stages of an architectural practice, no. So lagi meron tinatawag na pre-design, design phase, and construction phase. Of course, meron pang tinatawag na post-construction. Okay? But if you look at it on this one, di ba? Ano yung standard practice? Of course, meron mga conceptual designs, schematics, and then darating tayo, tapos may mga feasibility studies. Okay? You have also what we call construction phase, no. Nandiyan na yung mga supplement and details, executions of those plans, no. So yun yung standard practice, no. Now if you look at it doon sa school curriculum or your architectural education, mapapansin ninyo na some of your subjects will focus on a particular stages or phases ng practice ng architect. So for example, some of you are already done with your RMA. Normally, RMA works in school will fall on a pre-design of an architectural practice. No? Then, other things, for example, you do 3D visualizations, no? Renderings, visual tech ninyo. Of course, it will fall down where? Papasok siya doon sa conceptual, no? Conceptual stage or even on schematics, no? Kung masyado pang diagram yan, di ba? It can be also falling on partly on a pre-design. Tapos remember in school, I hope, no? Your professor also taught you in terms of the developmental controls, no? Yung mga building codes. So, saan yun? Kasama yun doon sa tinatawag nating pre-design and design services ng architect. Di ba? Even yung mga soil testing, mga surveys, remember that? So actual practice, di ba, nagpapasurvey tayo, nagpapasoil test tayo. These are part of the pre-design, di ba? Civil engineer and you as an architect cannot come up with a conceptual design without this type of information. So nasa tinatawag na pre-design services siya or pre-design activities. Sa construction or sa project management, they call that one as a part of the planning stage. Okay? Kasi sa kanila naman, yung planning stage, inclusive doon yung design phase. But on our part as a designer, as an architect, part naman siya ng tinatawag na pre-design. Okay? And then of course, school curriculum, yung OJTs nyo, internship nyo, apprenticeship nyo, all throughout the what? Papasok doon sa mga design phase or construction stage of the project. Doon nagbo-boils down yung experience. Now, on your thesis, mapapansin nyo, may mga certain requirements. RMA is part of that requirements. So, saan siya pumapasok? Pumapasok siya sa curriculum nyo, which is an RMA subject, yung research, papasok siya sa pre-design ng isang architect. Okay. So, yung level of expectations and level of specifics, diyan papasok sa pre-design. Pagka naman development controls or developmental controls ang papasok diyan, di ba? In between of the pre-design and design phase sa practice natin. Pero requirement sa thesis yan. Di ba? Later on, you will understand why and I will explain it, no? What about site analysis? Di ba? Requirement na yan sa design 9. Di ba? Yan ang output sa ibang school. Pag design 9, you have to produce a site development plan. You have to provide a good site analysis. So saan sa practice natin yan? Pwede pumasok yan sa pre-design for the site selection, but at the same time, it can be in design phase kasi you are now trying to design or develop a particular site. May landscape design man yan or hardscape and other things. So requirement yan sa thesis, di ba? Analysis. Then of course, yung design interpretation ninyo, how you will translate all these informations directly to your design 10. Di ba? Of course, may translation na on the design 9. Pero sa design 10, it will be manifested by providing an architectural plans. Kaya may architectural plans dun sa timeline natin. Di ba? And then of course, sometimes, no, sabi ko nga, ito yung common mistakes eh. A lot of architectural students in their thesis neglect the engineering considerations. Ang argument kasi lagi nila, hindi naman po ako engineer, how can I know? Apparently, the work of an architect is the primarily basis of these engineers to prepare their design drawings or their design analysis. Hindi pwede, they will come up with your design analysis and then ikaw ang mag-a-adjust doon. That's the reason why you are the first one who prepared all these things so that they can follow. But in actuality, sa construction naman, mas nauuna mostly the engineering works. Kumbaga yung architecture is the whole thing. The engineering is the in-betweens. Sa actual, sa execution. But in the design process, nauna yung architectural. So you have to also to consider the engineering considerations, anticipations, in your architectural plans, in your design translation for your thesis. So remove the idea that you just plainly work on your architectural plans without any consideration with other disciplines. Kasi the moment you start doing that, then you will have a bad output pagdating do sa design. Okay? Sige. So now you understand the timeline para you will understand, ito, para pag naging architect kayo in the future, you will understand the relation of your school curriculum. Then now, you can only understand your school curriculum para mo naman maintindihan what will be the counterpart that one in practice. Ha? Kasi wala pa kayo doon sa stage na yun. Tapos vice versa naman, pag nandun na kayo sa stage na yun, then you will understand more. Or you will get some appreciation. Okay, sige. Next slide, please. Later, no, we will have some question and answer, no. I know some of you are working under thesis, especially this coming school year, okay? So, pwede naman magtanong in relation with the topic. Okay, so for today, no, there are five points that I want to discuss, no, on this particular seminar, no. So, the first is data and numbers, okay? The second one is adoption and flexibility. The third one is building utilities, okay? Fourth is color coding. And then on the fifth one is design presentation. Now, take note that these are very specifics. Parang ito yung, kumbaga, these are the common thing na I think you have to take it seriously to provide in your drawings. Parang ito na rin yung tinatawag na quality assurance natin. If you try to follow all these points, more or less, you will hit a good presentation or a good output. Now I will explain it why, no? And then also it will help you to answer some of the questions or yung pag dinefend nyo to sa thesis ninyo, maiintindihan nyo to. Here's what we call data and numbers. Okay, so ano yung ibig sabihin? Fundamentally starts with these regulatory parameters in your design process. Ito yung hindi, di ba, I guess this is something that I want to share, no? And even for some of you na nakukwentuhan ko. Itong particular na process na to, hindi to siniseryoso sa school. And no one also correct you or no one really takes time to really push you to understand this. But did you know that this is one of the things that you will do as young professional at the same time as you do your practice, at the same time in the board exam? So hindi ko maintindihan why in school, everyone are not taking it this one seriously. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, di ba, ang common problem ng school at ang tinitrain lang sa inyo sa school at ang madalas nyo lang rin pinagbubutihan is maging magaling mag-render, magaling mambola, at magaling mag-create ng mga kung ano-anong form ng building. And these three are very enticing, but one of the worst thing that you learn in architecture. Kasi in architecture, this is more important than what I mentioned earlier. So, data and numbers, yun ang pinaka-importante. As first thing that you have to do. Diba? Tanong mo muna, yung bang site mo, alam mo ba yung setback na required? Ilan ba ang allowable space for you to develop on that one? Ano ba maximum height limit mo? Okay? So you have to understand that. Now, when you present this one in thesis, you have to put this one in your analysis, in your presentation, in your book. Hindi nyo siya kailangan kabisaduhin. Kailangan nyo i-calculate at isulat at ilagay sa presentation ninyo. So that when someone asks you, did you calculate how many parkings required in your project? Alam mo kung sasagutin mo because you calculate. These are one of the things na you try to skip doing it, pero these are one of the fundamental things that you need to do as a designer. Diba? The moment you understand these numbers, this data that you need, you will create a better architecture. It will supplement as well the plans that you will create. Diba? So for example, yun nga, so do you have a numbers to calculate your parkings? Ilan ba talaga required? Ilan ba by law? Ilan ba logically? Ilan ba talaga requirements? Diba? So you have to think that. O ano maximum height natin? Ano yung setback natin required? Ilan ba yung surfaces na dapat ay ilan ba yung open space natin? Okay? Ilan ba yung percentage of development natin? So you need to calculate those things. Okay? Ano ba classifications natin? Ano bang building typologies natin? Okay? And then, sabi ko nga sa inyo, all these datas, You try to translate it through diagrams, but at the same time, you have to put it when you do your presentation. Kumbaga, imbis na you have your own index card, di ba? And or try to memorize all those information, you just put it on the boards. Pag tinanong ka, may kasagutan ka. Kunwari, tinanong ka, ilang estudyante ba dyan? Ilan ba ang i-ako mo? Ilan bang exits meron? Gaano ba kabilis ang tao lalabas sa isang facilities mo? May egress ba sila? Ano ba yung time and motion studies mo? So those are data, those are numbers. Building code is also part of those numbers. Okay? So it's very important to understand that. Kasi if you don't do that from the start, then you're already missing the point of doing a proper architectural design. No? I remember when I was designing, mayroong mga minimum distance from the fire exits, di ba? May mga number of exits na required sa isang facilities mo. Why you have to create a look of the building if from the start, you need to provide a fire exit from your project? Hindi dapat yun muna inuuna mo, di ba? Required ka ng fire exits so you have to calculate first and put proper locations before doing other things, di ba? So you need to do that, no? So data and numbers. Okay. Next slide, please. Ayan. So ano yung mga yan? Sabi ko nga, una dyan, development controls, di ba? What else? Executive summaries, technical descriptions, code translations, and manifestations. So ano yung mga developmental controls? Yun nga, yung example ko. Ano ba ang allowable setback sa'yo? Ano bang easement mo? Alam niyo ba yung easement? Yung parang setback on a certain natural part. So kung nasa tabi ka ng ilog, sa tabi ka ng dagat, ano ba yung allowable? You have to understand that. Diba? Saka pwede, ano yung buildable areas mo? Ano yung non-buildable areas mo? Ano yung open space mo na required? Kailangan talaga may open space for the light and ventilation. Ano yung maximum height mo? Diba? Pervious surfaces mo. Unpaved surfaces. Ano ba yan? Another thing is what we call the executive summary. You summarize your project. Diba? Ano bang total floor areas mo? For example, if you look on this slide, may example ako dito ng isang tindahan namin for Kenny Rogers. So, mini-mention dito kung ilan dapat ang square meter ng aming outdoor dining sa indoor dining. It's very important. Kasi these are data that we will use in the next project. Or these are the data na gagamitin namin as we calculate. Diba? Kunwari, gaano ba kalaki ang kusina dapat namin sa Kenny Rogers? Gaano ba kalaki ang dining area namin? Ilang square meters ba for one person to eat? Nag-gets niyo? Di ba meron gano'n sa building code? In a theater, ilang square meter? Yung occupant load. Naalala niyo yun? Di ba? In an assembly area, ilan? In a school, in an office, ilang square meters? So these are something that you have to calculate. Di ba? So you have to create an executive summary so that pagka tinanong ka ngayon sa thesis mo, may data ka. Meron kang kodigo, kumbaga. Meron kang titingnan. Hindi mo kasi makakabisado yan eh. Diba? Unless you memorize a lot of things and you are sharp. But it's very important is you know how to calculate. And you put it that one to explain. No? Another thing, yung mga technical descriptions, diba? Sa mga location plans, diba? It's very important. No? Translation kasi yan ng mga datas. So yung mga technical descriptions, okay, yung mga levels ninyo, yung mga contours ninyo, yung mga survey plans ninyo and other things, very important yon sa data and numbers. Ha? These are nomenclatures. These are numbers that's very important na masagot nyo just in case na tanungin kayo. Or yung other calculations like yung mga costing, di ba? Magkano per square meter mo dyan sa project mo? Magkano ba rentable dyan sa space mo? Okay? You should have numbers. Lalo sa ibang school, they are asking you for financial calculations. Tama? May mga schools na ang thesis nila, they're being asked about the financial aspect of your project. Okay? So make sure you have the data. What else? Of course, importante yung code translations and manifestations. No? Look at this diagram or some sketches that I did. Diba? Standard entrance natin nowadays, diba? Kailangan may rampa ka na for disabled people. Diba? May certain percentage yan, diba? 12%, diba? So, yun pa lang, diba? Yan pa lang, dapat marunong ka na mag-translate. Diba? Hindi naman, yan yung mga details ng floor plan na you have to take it seriously because it's a translation of building code. It's a translation of the design requirements or design parameters or a translation of this data and numbers. Nagets? So for example, kung ang exit required on your project is 25 meters, make sure that within 25 meters, may exit ka. Paano kung required ng fire code is 15? Then dapat 15. Naintindihan? For example here, occupant load, classroom. Pag classroom ba, dapat isang pinto na? Diba? Ang classroom, maraming estudyante, so you have to require to have 2 exits. PW toilets, yan, common mistake, diba? Laging paloob, pero PW yung objective. Diba? Ano yung turning radius na required dyan as a minimum, diba? So, translation yun ng data and numbers. Tama? Tingnan nyo kami sa Kenny Rogers, ninonote pa namin yan. Yung square meters ng toilet namin. Meron kami square meters kasi paulit-ulit naman kami maglalagay ng PW toilet di ba? So we have a total square meters. Paulit-ulit lang naman ang size ng kusina ng Kenny Rogers. So we need to calculate that one. Through experience, alam na namin yung required square meters namin. So pag kumukuha kami ng properties, wala kumukuha kami ng rentable spaces sa mga commercials, alam na namin yung required square meters namin. Naintindihan? We need around 200 plus, 250 to 300 just to accommodate our brand. Hindi kami pwede ng less than 200. Okay? So that is what we call data and numbers. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So the next point is what we call adoption and flexibility. Anticipate near future changes in your design studies. I remember every time I do my comments with RMA, diba, lagi kong sinasabi doon sa comment ko, anticipate the near future. When you design, you have to understand that your design can progress and develop and evolve into something else. Now, of course, no one can predict the future. Wala naman talaga. But you can anticipate and predict the near future. Merong tinatawag na precedence Wala. For example, yung work from home na setup ngayon sa in-embrace na ng mga tao ngayon during the pandemic and after pandemic, post-pandemic, is basically may manifestation na yan a couple of years before the pandemic. A lot of people doesn't like to embrace that one kasi nga they're traditional thinkers. Pero if you look at it, people are already adopting that one paunti-unti, but everyone has been forced to adapt that one during pandemic. Right now nga, you will see a lot of job openings are into that type of setup na accepted na siya. Okay? So, what's the connection between architecture and that particular statement? Is to anticipate the progress and development of your project. Diba? For example, sa tingin niyo yung pandemic hindi mauulit, pwede mauulit yun So anong gagawin mo? You have to design your spaces and that type of thinking. Diba? Sino ba nagsabi na yung eskwelahan pag dinesign mo, bawalan TV? Diba? Demonize yung TV, diba? Masama may TV sa isang classroom. Kasi ang TV sa bahay, entertainment. Diba? Then what happened? Right now, a lot of schools, they shifted to put TV in their classroom. Bakit? Kasi may possibilities na, di ba? May LED TV, magaan na, mura na, di ba? may internet to connect that one. Di ba? Kumbaga, you understand my point, guys? So it doesn't mean in thesis, kaya nga tinawag na thesis, you have to innovate things. You have to think differently. So yun yung sinasabi natin, adoption and flexibility. Now, I will discuss deeper about this. Sige, next slide, please. Look at this one. Ano yung mga terms ko? Wave of opportunity, leap of innovation, expansion of form and direction, precedent studies, evolution of ideas. Look at the first diagram that I sketched, no? Wave of opportunity. You see? Ano yung wave of opportunity? Magkakaroon ng tinatawag na boom. Di ba? Trendy. Di ba? Hype. Di ba? And then what will happen? Lagi naman ganun ang cycle di ba? Magpipik ang isang brand, magpipik ang isang activities, and then magda-die down. Di ba? Yung kasabihang uso lang, mamaya laos na uli. Tama? I just give you recently what happened. Siguro familiar naman kayo sa Crocs, di ba? Yung tsinelas, di ba? So nauso yung Crocs dati. When I was in Dubai, sikat na sikat, di ba? 2007, 2006, sikat na sikat. Lalo sa Pilipinas. Bakit sikat sa Pilipinas? You know why? Design siya as a shoe boat para sa barko, sa mga bangka. Pero saan siya naging popular? Di ba sa hospital? Bakit siya naging popular sa hospital? Madali kasing linisin, hygienic, komportable. Kaya yung mga nurses at doktor, anong suot sa hospital? Di ba naka-Crocs? Now take note, during that time, yun yung peak ng mga nurses. Alam niyo yung graduate na ako ng architecture, graduate licensed architect na ako, pero mag-aaral ako ng nursing. Di ba? Uso yun. When I took the board exam in 2005, marami akong kilalang pumasa na ng board exam ng architecture, nag-aral pa ng nursing at gusto maging nurse. So why I'm telling you this one? So uso siya. Diba? What happened? Di ba nalaos? Di ba? By 2010, 2012, after almost 10 years, wala na. Laos na. Di ba? Bumaksak ang stocks. Lugi na sila. Nalulugi sila. Binenta siya. Okay? And then what happened? Nagkaroon siya ng resurgence recently during pandemic. Sa tingin nyo, bakit kaya? Kasi di ba, COVID health issues di ba? Di ba, yun yung dati, papauwi ka ng bahay, galing ka labas, di ka nga naliligo, di ba? Papalit ka lang ng damit. Ngayon, pagdating mo sa bahay, maliligo ka, magdi-disinfect ka. Tama? So, nag-resurgence yung Crocs. The same thing what I'm telling you about wave of opportunity. May up and down yan. May industry na bubuhay. Di ba? May industry na mamatay. Tama? Nung pandemic, anong namatay na industry? Di ba? Namatay yung physical stores. Anong nabuhay na industry? Di ba? Online store. So those things of wave of opportunity, you can use that one as part of your design ideas. Naintindihan? Kasama na dapat sa thinking niyo yun na, di ba? As much as you want, let's say, tropical architecture, you have to understand as well that air conditioning system is necessary. But it doesn't stop you not to think as well, how can you also manage cross ventilation and natural ventilation in a concept of air conditioning system? You have to think that way. Di ba? Kasi you need options. You need flexibilities. Di ba? Yun ang sinasabi ko, di ba? Adoption and flexibilities. Nakita niyo yung mga lumang building sa Ayala na dinesign siya na tropical architecture, natural ventilation, and then ano nangyari? Nagkaroon ng innovation. Ano ang innovation natin nangyari? Nagkaroon ng air condition system. So ano nangyari? Di ba hindi naka-adapt yung building? Saan nilagay nila yung aircon? Di ba sinaksak na lang nila sa mga kung ano ng mga bintana? Sinira nila yung facade ng building. Nagets niya? That's a perfect example of that. No? Leap of innovation. Ano yung gusto kong i-point out dito? Tandaan ninyo, yung leap of innovations na yan will dictate the type of architecture that you will create at this time, as this time and how it will adapt in the future. Tingnan niyo yung leap of innovation natin. O, kailan na-discover yung printing and glass construction or glass industry? Nagets niya? Naalala nyo nung Industrial Revolution, nung na-discover nila pwede palang gumawa, pwede palang mag-manufacture ka ng mga steel? Ano nangyari sa architecture? Diba? They create buildings made of steel. Diba? Kasi yung technology abundant during that time, right? Nag-gets nyo? Yan, no? Industrial Revolution, nagkaroon tayo ng steel construction, tama? Eiffel Tower, nabuo. Diba? San Sebastian Cathedral, diba? Gunpowder. Ano na next? Ano yung leap of innovations natin? A couple of years na-discover ang oil. Tama? Na-discover yung oil. So, nung nagkaroon ng oil, ano nangyari nung nagkaroon ng oil? Di ba nagkaroon ng kotse? So, ngayon, magdi-design ka na may parking. Tama? Magdi-design ka na may rampa. Tama? Dadagdagan na yung typology mo, may airport ka na. Dati wala di ba? Tama? And then, nung na-discover yung oil, ano nadagdag? Di ba nagkaroon ng tinatawag na petrochemical? Ano ibig sabihin nun, sir? Nung na-discover yung petrochemical, pwede nang gumawa ng plastic. Tama? May polymer. Di ba? So, nung nakagawa na tayong plastic, ano nangyari sa interior architecture? Di ba nagkaroon ng plastic furniture? You get now my point? This leap of innovation can change the way you do your architecture. Diba? Nung nagkaroon ng digital age, ano na nangyari? Nung nagkaroon na, ngayon nasa ano na tayo? Nanotechnology. Ano na ngayon gagawin natin? Anong klase ng architecture meron ka? Naintindihan? Nung araw, hindi uubra yung mga bahay na 22 square meters. You know why? Kasi yung furniture during that time, mas malalaki pa, di ba? Sa tingin mo ba makakapaglagay ka ng TV sa 22 square meters na bahay? Na may kama kang napakalaki at aparador na napakalaki. Tama. Pero nung nagkaroon na ng flat TV, hindi dikit mo na lang sa pader yung TV mo. Tama? Hindi nakakain ng espasyo. Kaya posible na 22 square meter na bahay. Kaya yung mga lumang kondo, ang lalaki na sukat 40 plus, 50, 60, 80, minsan 100 pa. Yung lumang kondo yun. Yung mga bagong kondo ngayon, may 22. Yun ang minimum, yun ang average. Posible ba yung nano? Lalo yung mga micro hotel, yung mga mala Japan, di ba? So, ngayon posible kasi yung technology allow you to do that. Yung ilaw pa lang, di ba, numinipis na di ba? Imagine mo dati, hindi pwede. Di ba? So, leap of innovation. Eto, meron akong diagram dito yung tinatawag kong expansion of form and direction. Ito yung common problem ng thesis yung, sir, 10 hektarya yung project ko pero kailangan ko lang 3 hektarya. Anong gagawin ko po doon sa lote? Di ba? Tandaan nyo, guys, kasama sa design thinking ninyo is what we call the expansion of form and direction. Kasama yun sa master planning nyo. Design 9 pa lang, iniisip nyo na yan. That's the reason why a lot of development in the Philippines para siyang afterthought. Tama? It should be considered as expansion. Kasi nga, you cannot predict the future. But because of learning from the past, you should anticipate that one. Bigyan ko kayo ng example. Diba? Look at all schools. Hindi nyo napansin lahat ng eskwelahan? Naubos na yung green space nila kasi nag-expand yung campus. Nag-gets niya? So, kung hindi proper yung anticipation nyo, yung master plan ninyo, or yung anticipation nyo doon, magiging chapsuy yung development ninyo. Kaya importante yung pagpaplano, no? Look at Lasal, how they do it, di ba? Dati, meron silang main hall na gawa ni Mapua. Tapos, nung nag-expand sila, nawalan sila ng parang admission department, nilagay nila sa harap. Then eventually, hindi nagustuhan ng alumni nila, nilagay nila sa gilid. Binukas uli nila yung main hall nila, yung gawa ni Mapua. Tapos, yung kanilang football field, nung nag-expand sila, nilagyan nila ng building yon. And they try to come up with an arrangement na lang sa Rizal Memorial. Kasi sa likod lang nila yon. The reason I'm telling you all these things, kasi yun yung sinasabi ko. Lalo na yung mga development ninyo na it will take a lot of years. Diba? Institution, diba? Kailangan meron kang tinatawag na para future-proof or anticipation on the future, paano nyo yan ipaplan? Same it goes. I remember yung Mapua, nung dinesign nila yon, yung main hall lang. Tapos meron lang south building. And then may north building. So parang H-plan. And then eventually, nung nag-expand yung curriculum, nagkaroon ng tinatawag na west building. Ang one thing na masablay nila, yung nag-create sila ng east building, ang problema, tinakpan naman yung fasadong building. So that's one of their mistakes. So ibig sabihin, yung architect who designed that one doesn't understand how to conceptualize things para naman hindi maapektuhan yung fasadong building. So doon mo makikita na wala siyang understanding of expansion and direction. So you as a designer, you should understand that one. Kasama yan. Kaya di ba matanong sa thesis, ano gagawin mo sa nakarang lote? O, paano mo sasagutin? Another thing is what we call precedent studies. Okay? Yung evolution of your studies, yung development. Look at this one in the diagram. It started with a square, can be a diamond, can be a mixed one, and then you can play around on the patterns, and then etc. and etc. You have to develop. Diba? Kayo, some of you are a lot of you are my apprentice. Importante niluluto yung design. Niluluto nyo yun. Nire-refine nyo yun. And then of course, evolution of ideas. Look at this one, diba? Look at the example of a 20 years evolution of a television. Nagets niya? Dati, diba? Radyo, eventually yung radyo naging TV, 'di ba? After the war after the war doon unti-unting na-develop yung TV. After World War II. And then nagkaroon ng TV di aparador, 'di ba? Tapos nagkaroon ng TV black and white, then nagkaroon ng TV colored. Nagkakaroon ng may picture tube hanggang nagkaroon na ng mga may VCR, 'di ba? Nagkaroon ng cable. Gets niyo? It changed culturally. It changed the way we do things. We change. Tapos ngayon, nauso na. Ngayon, individually, may mga sariling mobile phones. Di ba? So, these are something that you have to look, no? When you design. Sa flexibility and adaption or adaptability of your design. Okay? Next slide, please. Next slide, Christine. Okay. So the third one is what we call building utilities. Okay? So ano ibig sabihin? Incorporate the principles and concept of these disciplines as early in your design planning. You know, one of the loopholes na nakikita ko in your thesis is no one take it seriously yung tinatawag na building utilities. Yung structural na nga lang hindi na nga siniseryoso. 'Di ba? What more pa yung building utilities? Okay? Sige, slide please. Next slide please. Okay. So ano yung mga building utilities? Of course, you are aware of that, no? Yung tinatawag na mechanical, HVAC, no? Electromechanical. Of course, yung mga high voltage, low voltage, low current, high current is very important. Electronics, IT, electrical, plumbing, sanitary, okay? Fire protection, okay? Life safety, of course, acoustic and lighting. So, why it's very important, as I said earlier, no, a lot of you neglect the importance of this in your architectural design, and you should be mindful that whatever requires you building utilities, it can change the way you do your design, even the way you design your floor plans or how you lay out your floor plans, mag-iiba yan. Even the look of your building can change. Nakakita ka na ba ng mga rendering perspective na hindi nila mapakita yung exhaust, 'di ba, ng generator? Yung louvers ng mga electrical rooms nila. Yung gondola, no? Or yung water tank sa duktok ng building nila or yung fire. 'Di ba? Nagets niyo ba yung ibig ko sabihin? Why in rendering you are not preparing or reflect those details? Sa totoong buhay, magkakaroon ng ganung parte. Tama? Nakakita ka ba ng building na hindi mo mapapansin na nandun yung electrical room? Meron dun eh. So that's the problem. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, if you focus on the rendering without understanding as well this one, kulang-kulang yung rendering mo. Diba? Yung building mo may chimney, pero pag nirender mo, walang chimney. Pwede ba yun? Yung bubong mo may ventilator na requirements. Pag drawing mo, walang ventilator. Yung pader ng bahay mo, merong mga condenser. And then nag-design ka ng bahay na walang condenser yung pader. Nag-gets nyo? So yeah, it's like deceiving, di ba? So ganun din ang architecture, no? That's the reason why building utilities is very important. Kasi if you know that there will be a condenser requirement, di ba? On the facade of your building. So what is the best way for you to hide it, to function that one well, to relocate that one? How you will do it? Tama? Kasi kung hindi, afterthought lahat ng mga nag-gets niyo ba? Yung parang kumbaga sa tao, maganda yung mukha mo, pero kailangan may tenga ka eh, di ba? So, saan mo dapat ilagay yung tenga mo para maging maayos, di ba? So yung function is very important besides on the aesthetics. So here, just to give you a translation, no, and manifestation. For example, an elevator. Every time na lang nag-check ako ng plano ng elevator, ano yung common mistake ninyo, di ba? Meron shaft. Common, ginagawa nyo. Nilalagyan nyo siya ng elevator car. Tama? Alam nyo, pero nakakalimutan nyo, hindi kayo naglalagay ng counterweight. Saan nakakita ng elevator na walang counterweight? Sasabihin, sir, meron naman sir na walang counterweight. Yun pneumatic, yung piston type. Pwede. Pero kung mababa lang yung building mo, paano kung multi-story yan? Iba ng type ng elevator yan. You see? So in this particular sketch, no, anong punto ko? Wala kang counterweight. Nagdo-drawing ka ng elevator. Tingnan nyo ang mangyayari niya sa actual practice. Ginawa ng engineer mo structural yung elevator shaft mo. Nilagyan niya ng buhos. Kinalculate niya yung shaft mo. Then all of a sudden, nung umorder ka, nagets niya, umorder ka ng elevator, ginawa sa construction niyan, sir, wala tayong paglalagyan ng counterweight. Ano mangyayari sa tingin niyo dyan? Ano solusyon niyo dyan? Lilitan niyo na lang elevator. Tama ba ka? You see? Because you don't care about the building utilities. Kung ano mangyayari, apektado design mo. Ang dami ko na nakita section drawings sa nagtitesis. May elevator ka, wala kang elevator pit. Hindi niyo pansin yan? So halatang, hindi mo naiintindihan yung ginagawa mo, di ba? You cannot do a proper drawings, translation, because you don't understand building utilities. May elevator, yan, di ba? May machine room, tama? Sa tingin mo, ano maging epekto ng machine room sa drawing mo? Tama? Dito. May battery of furniture ka, may battery of fixture ka, like in the toilet. Multi-story. Wala kang pipe chase. Tama? Wala kang plumbing wall na maayos. Do you understand? So, saan dadaan yung mga tubo mo? Okay? So, these are manifestations in your architectural plans ng building utilities. Kung hindi mo naintindihan ang building utilities, you cannot draw this one properly. Eh, lalo na sa design 10 yan, very important na yan. Now, take note, sir, am I particular on the size? Of course, yung size, kinakalculate ng mga engineers yun. Depende kayo sa dami ng required na pipes. Diba? But it doesn't mean that you will not have any idea to provide that. Tapos, papasok tayo sa flexibility again. Nag-gets yung flexibility. Ibig sabihin, what if it changed the size, lumaki? Then, make sure that you are anticipating that one. Naintindihan? You can expand the area just to accommodate the size. Normal yun. Pag bumalik tayo sa practice, papasok yun sa tinatawag na design development. You develop your architectural design together with your engineering disciplines. Ito lang, basic lang. Basic electrical diagram. Yung mga diagrams na yan can translate into spaces. Ang problema, even you cannot understand kung ano yung magkakasunod, ano yung magkakatabi. So if you don't understand certain building utilities diagram, how can you translate that one into a physical plan and the requirements? Diba? Oh, may substation, may service drop, merong meter room, may transformer, may generator, diba? May switchgear room. Tapos may mga feeder lines, may mga electrical panel boards, may mga electrical rooms, may mga switch banks. Saan yan sa building? Nakakita na ba kayo nun? Nag-study na ba kayo para silipin yun? Oh, what about sa water? Saan ba magagaling ang tubig mo? May cistern ka ba? May water tank ka ba? May pump ka ba? May fire pump ka ba? Nasa ng mga gate bulbs niyan? Nasa ng mga manholes niyan? Nasa ng mga handholds niyan? Okay? Ganun rin sa mechanical. May mga clearances ba yan? Saan dadaan ang tubo mo? Saan ang mga shaft niyan? Nasa ng mga duct shaft niyan? Nasa mga cable trays? Bakit ganyan ang section mo? Bakit ganyan ang height mo? Nagets? So it's very important. Bakit ang cross-section mo very important? Ano yung clearances mo doon? Makakatawid ba yung tubo mo dyan? Okay, so those are very important. Mag-change ang design mo doon. Yung bang theater mo, kailangan ng catwalk? Sino maglalagay ng ilaw sa taas? Sino magpapalit ng bintana sa taas? Sino mag-aayos ng nagets? Paano mamimaintain yung area na yun? Diba? So makikita niyo yung mga theatrical lights, diba? May mga catwalks, diba? May mga ladder rung, may mga ledges, diba? So those are the things that you have to understand. Sige, next slide. Okay. The fourth one is what we call color coding. You know, as complicated as you prepared your floor plan, it's very important as well to organize your design in terms of color coding. Lalo na pag masalimuot yung mga space planning mo, like hospital and all these things, kailangan yan. Just to present to them that you understand what you are doing, that you know how to organize proper spacing. Identify your zoning, adjacency of spaces, and organizational blocks in your plans. If you look on the diagrams that I showed to you in this image, diba? Meron yung groupings eh. Sa hospital, may tinatawag silang inner, outer, diba? Meron silang OPD, meron silang inpatient, then outpatient, and emergency. Tama? Minsan may school pa yan o institution, may auxiliary. Naintindihan? Ganun yon. Ganun rin sa certain spaces, like even a small restaurant, diba? May dining, kitchen, storage, diba? So meron silang mga groupings. Diba? Sa hotel, may tinatawag front of house, back of house. Naintindihan? So if you start creating those organizations, those zonings, it present to the jury na naiintindihan mo yung plano mo. Okay? And that's very important. Okay? Next slide, please. Look at this one, di ba? You can do that by material finishing. You can do that by interrelationship and clustering. You can also create that one in terms of density and volume. Di ba? Hindi naman kasi ang organization is flat in 2D plans. It can be in volume. Kasi sometimes, the space needed is volume. May height requirements. Tama? A theater needs volume. A museum needs some volume. A church needs some volume. Tama? Density, number of people in a certain square meters. Diba? There's some space that needs little people. There's some space that needs a lot of people. Diba? Nagets niya? Look, a football stadium. A football stadium have a density of too tight pagdating do sa, ano ta dito? Viewing. Sa crowd area. Tama? Spectators area, di ba? Yung density niya, di ba? Marami. Tama? Tapos pagdating sa field, do sa playing field, di ba yung density ang konti? So iba yun, di ba? May contrast of density. A football player needs a big space to play the game, but no need to a lot of people to be there. And then the vice versa. Yung spectator area needs a big density. So ano gagawin mo doon? How you will manage that one? So it's very important yung tinatawag ng mga exits, di ba? Yung circulation, di ba? Yung viewing, hindi nag-o-obstruct. Okay? Look at this one. I have one project in Kuwait. No? This is a renovation of a small shopping center. Oh, anong ginawa namin? Nag-categorize kami by zoning, what is the grocery or the cooperative. May uso kasi doon yung kooperatiba o cooperative shopping center. And then there's also what we call the individual nagre-rent, 'di ba? So naka-coding siya. 'Di ba uso ngayon 'yan sa mga malls, 'di ba? Yung area siya ng mga cellphone, na electronics, tapos may area siya ng damit, area siya ng pagkain. 'Di ba? Hindi naman bihira naman yung rumble, 'di ba? Bihira naman yung rumble 'di ba? Lagi magkakasama yung mga pagkain, magkakasama yung sports, 'di ba? Sports apparel, 'di ba? Magkakasama, 'di ba? Mga furniture magkakasama. Naintindihan? So, yun. No? Of course, yung material finishing, like this one in one of my projects in Kuwait, no? Is a residential houses. So, minsan, ginugroupings ko siya by materials. Di ba? Pag naglagay ako ng wood deck, it represent outdoor activity. If I put pool, definitely it's a water activity. If I put like a parquet or a this is a sleeping area. If I put what you call this like parang tiles, then it means it's a wet area. Naintindihan? You categorize kasi sometimes materials can help you to categorize or zone your spaces, 'di ba? Simpleng bahay nga lang, 'di ba, may area ka na bawal ng sapatos, 'di ba? At dapat ay naka-tsinelas ka or dapat ay naka-paa ka, 'di ba? Naintindihan? So these are something that you have to look forward, no? A certain activities, a certain materials, no, can group your spaces. Huwag yung bibigyan sila ng presentation na very plain. Kasi minsan, yung coding, it helps you to identify things faster and it shows that you understand what you are doing. Diba? Kasi kung yung architect is talagang i-scrutinize at i-review yung plano mo, kahit hindi mo lagyan ng coding, mahuhuli ka. Kaya I suggest, lagyan mo na ng coding so that you are telling to them, I understand what I am doing. That's the reason why I organize this space. Diba? Sige. Next slide. Oh, okay. So the last one is I called it design presentation. Now, of course, I said earlier, no, parang a lot of students are trying to push to have a good presentation. Pero take note, itong presentation na to is not the presentation that I'm talking about. Yung pagandahan ng rendering, pagandahan ng walkthrough, no? Kasi yung pagandahan ng rendering at walkthrough, madali lang yan eh. Di ba? Napapagawa yun sa ibang tao, binabayaran yung magre-render, yung tropa mong magaling, siya na lang gagawa, yung nauna mong barkada tapos na sa thesis, siya gagawa ng rendering. Paggawa mo doon sa boyfriend mo, doon sa girlfriend mo, basically, it's not about that. The presentation that I'm talking about is this one. Provide a quality assurance checklist for your drawing output. Ibig sabihin, tamang translation in a technical aspect. Kumbaga, as an architect in future, dapat pag nagpipresent ka ng drawing, tamang language, tamang presentation, tamang technical presentation. Ha? Hindi yung superficial lang. Kasi take note, ang ipipresentan yung tao ay sino? Group of architects, technical na pag nakita yung rendering mo na maganda, or kahit nga pangit, sa tingin nila maganda lagi. 'Di ba? Hindi naman magulang niyo yung mag-check ng trabaho ninyo. Okay? Sige. Next slide, please. So, this is something to do with the quality assurance. You prepare your checklist. Sige. Next slide. Kaya if you notice, no, meron siyang architectural drawing manual. No? It's one of the example of a checklist or a quality assurance. Yan, look at this one. Di ba? Common mistake lagi yan. Nagtitesis. Prepare na. Nakalimutan maglagay ng north sign sa mga drawings nila. You see? Magpipresent ka ng plano. Nag-site development plan. Bakit wala ka north sign? Nakakalimutan yan, ha? O another thing, nag-drawing ka, architectural plans, susundan ng mga engineers in the future. Bakit hindi ka naglalagay ng tamang skill? Diba? Or unskilled yung drawing. Diba? Hindi naka-skill. Of course, you have to provide dimensions. Diba? Hindi naman pa pwedeng lagi ka magsusukat dun sa thesis defense mo. Tama? Pangalawa, if you take it seriously to do that, you will understand if your plans or your design will work. Tama? Kasi kung hindi mo sinusukat yung plano, tatabihin sa'yo, student, posible ba dumaan dyan yung kotse? Bakit, sir? Sa tingin mo, based on the visual review ko, in terms of scale, mali, tapos wala ka pang dimension, ilan ang turning radius para makapasok dyan? Ano ba ang width para may clearance ang sasakyan? Okay? So doon mo makikita kasi if you don't provide those things, lalo mo binabawasan yung bagay na dapat mo siniseryoso. And if that is the case, doon ka mahuhuling mali-mali yung trabaho mo. Actually, I remember we failed a student na hindi niya na-drawing properly yung kanyang sectional drawings. Na parang may problema kami sa rampa niya. To the point na parang ang layo-layo mo na magrarampa ka na para makarating ka dito. There's something wrong. You understand? 'Di ba? As we design, 'di ba? Pag naka-scale na tayo at nagdo-drawing na tayo, doon na natin nakikita na may mali tayong ginagawa once we start to create the dimensions, put the scale, and understand this one. Makikita, mali, hindi siya uubra. 'Di ba? So make sure you have dimensions, you have scale, you have north. Of course, yung grid, importante. Bakit siya importante? Kasi yan ang basihan ng structural. And in some theses, they are required to justify what is your structural concept. Diba? At kailangan naman talaga, kahit conceptual design pa lang yan, ini-establish mo yung grid kasi susundan ng structural engineer yan sa practice. Now, take note, ang thesis ninyo is what? Mostly is a design activity, is a conceptual or schematic, but nevertheless, it doesn't excuse you not to provide grid. Kailangan may grid ka dyan. Kaya makikita nyo may mga architect, di ba, nag-i-sketch pa lang sila pero in-establish na nila yung grid. That's part of the requirement. Another thing, bakit hindi tayo naglalagay ng finish level? Ito, napansin ko sa thesis. Maraming hindi gumagawa nito. You need to provide. Kasi yan ang basis ng surveyor. Yan ang basis, yan ang connection kung bakit kami survey plans, may mga location plans ka. Kasi kailangan mo ng finishing levels. Gagawa ka ng section, wala kang finishing levels. So for some of you or maybe nasa building tech, sakala sineryoso yan sa building tech. Sa design pa lang ini-establish ang finishing levels. Ha? Hindi siya pang building tech na working drawings lang. No. You have to establish that one even in design. Ha? Of course, yung mga basic annotations and callouts. Ha? Tandaan nyo ha, ang annotations at ang callouts ay hindi nagre-reflect sa actual installation or actual construction. Ha? Nagets niya? So one time I will post something sa Instagram. A perfect example of that one. Yung na-interpret ng contractor na construction drawing siya rather than an annotation or an information. Pag sinabing annotation or callouts, you're just informing someone na ito yung sitwasyon or ito yung dapat gawin or ito yung sukat or ito yung materials. But it doesn't mean that you have to execute as per what you are seeing on the drawing. Hindi ganon. Ha? Hindi siya direct interpretations. Information siya. Okay? So you have to provide that. What else? Entourage. Sa thesis, or even in a conceptual stage or even in design, you have to provide entourage. Ha? Kung kailangan mag-provide ng kotse, mag-provide kayo ng kotse doon. Ng tao, mag-provide kayo. Naintindihan? Halaman, mag-provide kayo. Naintindihan? Kasi para ma-scale ninyo yung dinodrawing ninyo. Maintindihan ninyo. Okay? Kami sa mga plano namin, pinaplot namin ng may taong naka-wheelchair. Pinalagay namin yung sizes talaga ng kotse. For example, when I did a military projects, talagang kung ano sukat ng tangke, i-drawing ko. Naintindihan? What we call circulation path. So, lalagyan niyo siya ng mga na conceptual stage, it's fine. Mga life safety. Alam mo yung life safety, guys? Ito yung mga egress pagka may sunog. Kasama yun sa mga life safety drawings. So, importante yun. Ha? Kung magta-turning radius ba dapat siya? Nilalagay yan. Sa vehicular, nilalagay namin yan. Even sa tao. Bakit sir importante? For example, when we did the Starbucks and Shuttle Space, pinapalagay ko yung movement ng tao. Bakit? Kasi importante yung movement ng tao sa operations ng tindahan. Kasi kasama yun sa design principles na kailangan ma-apply namin doon. So parang pinapakita namin na dapat yung tao pumasok sa tindahan, ang bubungad kagad sa kanya is yung mga merchandise. Tapos dapat padaanin namin siya sa area na bibili muna siya ng pagkain rather than ng kape. Kasi alam naman namin magkakape siya, most likely. So, padaanin namin siya pagkain para hindi lang kape bibilin niya. Nagets? So, meron kami tinatawag na operational flow. Kasama yun sa circulation plan namin. Dino-drawing namin yun. Okay? Kasi design siya eh. To explain the movement. So, these are some of the diagrams. So, yung bar scale, north sign, grids, dimensions, no? Finished floor line, level, datum, level, datum, yung finish, annotations, yung mga tags ninyo, no? Mga drawing tags, title tags, detail tags, all those things. Then, of course, entourage, and then circulation diagrams or circulation arrows, no? It's very important, no? So sa manual ng konsipyo, may mga ganyan kami. No? Okay? Sige. Next slide. I think yung 5 points been discussed na natin. Okay, so basically, yun na naman yung studio konsipyo. I started to create a community out of that. Tapos normally it's exclusive for my apprentice and student. No? So yeah, meron tayo yan. May page, meron tayong group. So makikita niyo yan sa Facebook page ng Konsipyo. You can join that Studio Konsipyo. Anong makikita nyo doon? Nandun yung may mga dinidiscuss ako about practice, about board exam, about other things. Na? So parang yun yung kahit tapos na kayo sa OJT or tapos ko na kayo maging estudyante, you can still join there. We can still have parang maliit na group doon and you can share. No? Yung mga may mga nag-board exam ko doon, mga naging architect, may mga architect na doon. And so that's another, it's like a small group or family of the Studio Concipio. Next slide. Okay, so yung meron akong architectural consultation. Ito yun, diniscuss ko na to sa iba sa inyo, but for some, basically it's a something na parang tutorial on an architectural thesis. Basically, I'm reviewing the works of my students na nagti-thesis. So these are some of the examples, no? Na yun yun, I read, mark, or check the work ng mga nagti-thesis. So before they submit that one, ayan, or minsan give them advice. No? So ayan, as architect, we provide direct and personalized consultation to your architectural thesis. Okay, so may ganyan kaming aspect. Currently, I have one from Mapua. No? So, ginagawa. Tapos recently may natapos na. Okay? Next slide. Okay, yung mga design manuals, for some of you have this one, pero meron pa tayo, no? We have developmental controls, we have interior architecture design. So may mga manuals na kini-create to prepare a good quality set of drawings. Now, primarily para sa working drawings yan, pero yung principles hindi pa rin naman nawawala in terms of preparing a proper architectural drawing. So meron yan, design manuals. Meron rin yung paano mag-design in terms of interior and architecture. Next slide. Ayan, of course, yung iba naman sa inyo, subscriber at supporter na ng Concipio. But I guess yung sinasabi ko lang, a lot of things na pwede kayong matuto. Kasi marami rin mga learning posts at mga videos and images or mga photos na makakatulong sa inyo. So yung tungkol doon sa annotations and hopefully today may post ko yun. Kasi nga naalala ko lang yung maling interpretation ng contractor on the annotation. Sige. Ano pa yung next slide? Okay, so we're done for the seminar, but I will open the floor for question and answer, no? Kasi the question and answer can be also part of the recording session, no? Sige. Please, pwede kayo magtanong. Kung related sa thesis ninyo, pwede nyo tanong habang you have the opportunity to ask. Sige.
Sir,
Hmm.
ano po? Good afternoon po.
Hmm.
Bali sir, yung naging comments po kasi nung jurors ko sa last deliberation po sa RNA. Bali prison po yung akin. Prison po yung thesis ko. Bali, wait lang po sir. May checklist na po kasi ako ng mga on administrative region, penal farm, prison without bars, restoring humane environment in correctional facilities through aging-in-place design approach. Bale, sinuggest po ng jurors na mag-retitle po ako. Bukod po doon, gusto nilang i-adjust po yung scope ko. Bale, ang magiging retitle po is Northern Luzon Penal Farm, restoring humane environment in correctional facilities design. So, yun sir, yung sa scope ko, imbis daw na gawin kong pang car lang, gawin ko na lang din daw kung Northern Luzon since yung mga prison po sa Philippines located mostly sa southern part ng Philippines tsaka sa Palawan tapos yung isa sa yung New Bilibid prison po. Ang tanong ko lang po, ayun po, parang I mean paano ko po gagawin ay yung sa scope po kasi, ang mangyayari po, imbis na car lang po, ang magiging scope ko po is Northern Luzon mismo, lalaki yung scope ko. Iniisip ko po yung sa site, iniisip ko po kung iibahin ko pa po ba yung site ko mismo na car or ililipat ko po ng Ilocos since ayun po yung yung may pinakamalaking population ng teammates, or i-stay ko po sa CAR since yun po yung parang center ng Northern Luzon.
Okay. You have to understand muna kung ano yung operations, pati anong identifications ng Bureau of Jail or yung government agencies that will operate that one or will identify that one. Kasi take note na may classification ng type ng kulungan at may mga kulungan talaga. For example, just to give you an idea, no? Yung sa New Bilibid Prison, mayroon yung level. Sa anong mga type ng nakakulong? Kasi defined yan eh. For example, sa Taguig, ang mga kinukulong doon, yung mga ang cases is yung mga parang terrorist. Pero pag ang case naman niya is mga iba, then may New Bilibid Prison. Tapos pagka medyo malalayan, nilalagay pa yan sa merong area sa Mindoro, doon sila nilalagay. So, ang punto ko lang doon, kailangan i-define mo muna yon. Kasi wala namang problema yung sinasabing ilipat. Ang tanong lang is anong justification mo? Bakit siya ililipat? Not only because of yung data mo, pero ano ba yung operation, yung side naman nung mag-ooperate. Yun one thing na palang gusto kong sabihin sa inyo, na pag nagdi-design kayo, 'di ba? Kasi nasanay kayo ang design lagi ganito eh. Kung anong gusto mo. Ikaw as a designer, ganun na, mali yung training na yun eh. Tinrain kasi kayo sa school kung anong gusto mo. Design 1 ka pala, anong gusto mong bahay? Design 2, anong gusto mong hospital? Sorry, not hospital, but laging ang tanong, anong gusto mo? Mali eh. Dapat, ano ang gusto nung kliyente mo? Now, take note, ang kliyente mo, dalawang klase. Pwede yung user or kliyente mo magparehas, pero pwede rin yun magkaiba. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng kliyente mo si Ayala, pero hindi si Ayala ang titira. Kasi ibebenta niya yung kondo. So, ibang tao yung titira. Or kayo, school, kliyente mo si PUP, pero ang gagamit yan, yung inmates, yung user. Tama? Pero may mag-ooperate dyan. So, sino yung kliyente mo? So, you have to understand as well on their end para makita mo kung applicable for you to relocate at bakit siya pwedeng i-relocate. Kasi kung hindi mo ma-justify John at pangahawakan mo rin lang yung sinabi ng advisor mo. Although, suggestion ko, pag may mga ganong comment yung mga advisor, as much as possible, you try to accommodate that one. Kasi yun yung basis kung bakit mo binabago. Kasi yun yung sabi nila. So, there will be a sense of respect on what they're commenting. Pero you have to also to balance that one na dapat justified rin yung suggestion nila. Hindi kasi rin pwedeng lang basta mo nilipat kasi sabi lang nila nilipat. Lagyan mo siya ng bakit. The question is why? Why you need to relocate that one and what is the best reason for you to relocate that? For example, I don't understand why yung airport natin kailangan meron sa Bulacan. Hindi ko magets. Di ba? Meron na tayo sa Manila eh. Meron na rin tayo sa Clark. Bakit kailangan sa Bulacan sa pagitan ng Manila at ng Clark? Hindi ko magets. Tapos pares lang yun, international airport rin yun. Bakit? So, merong dahilan politically or whatever, may dahilan yun. Pero on my sense as an architect, I don't see any sense for us to have an airport in between of that. Siguro yung Bicol, maintindihan ko pa eh, magkaroon ng airport eh. Or yung North eh. Pero bakit merong airport sa Bulacan? Hindi ko mag-gets eh. So, yun yung sinasabi ko. Not for the sake na makalipat, but you have to justify that one. Maybe it's through their operation. Maybe they have to identify that one. So, you need to explain that. Okay? So, pwede mong adapt yun, yung requirement suggestions nila, but you have to back up that one. Uh, logi logically. No? Sige.
Okay. Sa
Well,
design
O siya,
approach ko
sige.
po originally, yung sa aging in place design approach. Bale, bale po, sabi po ng jurors ko, gawin ko na lang daw kung programmatic yung aging in place. Since parang ang gusto ko po kasi mangyari dun is adapt din sa changing needs ng mga inmates. Katulad po pag tumanda, pag may mga inmates po na doon na po tumatanda, parang maging adaptable din po yung design ko sa ganong situation ng mga inmates. Sabi po ng jurors, gawin ko na lang daw kung programmatic in a sense na maglagay na lang daw ako ng re, ah, retirement facility doon sa prison ko para doon sa mga inmates na matatanda na tapos doon na lang sila mag-isang na kita nila na mas maganda yung yung living situation nila doon sa loob ng prison. Pag nakalaya na sila, ang gagawin nila, gagawa lang ulit sila ng crime para bumalik doon sa prison na yun since mas maganda yung lagay ng buhay nila doon.
Kaya nga. So, make sure lang that you are back up with that data, no? To go with that, 'di ba? Hindi kasi nga pwedeng kaya yung pumapasok yung research ninyo is to justify that one na yun talaga yung data na nakukuha natin na yun yung reason why they need to come back. Kasi kung wala ka rin supporting to do that, ang mangyayari ganun, babalik tayo dun sa yun yung gusto mo, 'di ba? O yun yung gusto nila. Hindi lang ganun eh. Kailangan rin for this type of project, kailangan backup ka ng data. Babalik tayo doon sa numbers kanina. So, kanalo nun, 'di ba? Parang yung istorya ng ating butihing engineer, 'di ba? Gusto niya magpatayo ng kondo, 'di ba? Tabi ng bundok. May numbers 'yun, 'di ba? Magkano gagastusin niya, magkano kikita sila, 'di ba? May ganun ba talagang taong willing magbayad noon, 'di ba? So, driven ng numbers yun economically, financially. So, kung hindi naman siya posible, di ba, yung feasibility niya, hindi siya, then mukhang mag-fail yung kanilang development. So, ganun rin naman yun. So, make sure that you have data na merong significant number to do that. Kasi kung hindi, ano ba yung alternative? Kasi pwede mo naman dalhin siya sa DSWD, di ba? Pwede sa ibang sa ibang ahensya or ibang departamento, 'di ba? So you have to think muna what is the data. May case study ba niya? Meron bang kaparehas yan? Similar concept ba? May ganyan. And then from there, so alam mo justify kung okay yung mga ganyang approach.
Okay po, sir. Thank you po.
Sige. Anyone?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Ako din po may question po ako. Yung sa akin naman po, sir, yung Rizal Provincial Test the Training and Assessment Center po. Bali po yung naging comments po sa akin, sir. Pag-isipan ko daw po ano po yung best approach po sa akin and then yung sa users ko nga po. So basically, sir, parang mag-start talaga po ako sa umpisa. Bali po ang naiisip ko po is pwede po ba, sir, parang unahin ko yung case studies? For example, pupunta po ako ng TESDA centers na existing, tapos dun po magmumula yung, kumbaga yung problem, kung ano yung kulang sa existing centers ngayon. Tapos dun na po ako kukuha ng, kumbaga, design approach po, sir.
Well, dapat naman talaga yung case study at yung precedent studies talaga ginagawa nyo kahit nga sa lower design, dapat may ganun kayo eh. 'Di ba? Ang downside nito, kailangan mas hanapin mo yung maraming mali kaysa sa maraming tama. Kasi pagka ginawa mo, ipinili mo yung maraming tama, uulitin mo lang rin yun sa project mo. Mangyayari, ka-copy-paste mo lang yun. So, hanapin mo yung maraming mali and then you have to figure out paano yun isa-solve yung mga mali na yun. Now, yung mga tama na yun, hindi naman siya tama. Very subjective rin yung tama. Pwede siya tingin mo yung tama at sa kanila ay pwedeng tama ngayon, pero pwedeng later on, hindi na rin siya tama. So, make sure lang na you have to innovate. you have, yun nga, sabi ko lagi, innovate ka in a sense na ano ba yung progress ng education? Paano ba yung next approach? Kasi, kaya nga, pagka nag-president studies ka o nag-case studies ka, uulitin mo lang yan. So, parang tinimes 2 mo lang rin yung development ng TESDA. Pinaganda mo lang itsura ng building, iniba mo lang yung form ng building mo, pinaganda mo lang yung rendering mo. Pero nothing change in terms of how they will approach yung yung project. So I guess you have to look deeper not only on the architectural aspect, pero yung approach na operation ng isang eskwelahan. Sabi ko nga lagi diyan, 'di ba? I guess I don't know if that came from my comment or from other architect. Pero parang sinasabi ko, bakit hindi mo silipin yung pedagogy? Anong type ng pedagogy yung ginagamit sa traditional ngayon? At ano yung pedagogy yung gusto mong i-introduce sa kanila? And maybe that type of pedagogy will work based on the situation doon. Or you have to discover other things or a mix of that. Ganun yun. Kaya na-remember today, no, I brought my son sa therapy. So, tinanong anong type ng school. So, sabi ko, the school is not traditional. And then sabi ng isang therapist, parang familiar sa akin yung school. They focus more on the values of the student rather than on the academics. So, parang ang focus ng eskwelahan is maging mabuting tao ka kaysa maging mas matalino kang tao. It doesn't mean that they're not taking seriously yung education. Pero sinasabi lang doon, mas high valued sa kanila yung values ng bata o yung character. May ganun eh. So sa pedagogy nila, they focus on the character of the person rather than on the academics. It's secondary. Totoo yun kasi, for example, yung anak ko, pag sumasagot sila sa paper nila, pag mali sila, they have to go to the answer sheets and then correct their work. Ano ibig sabihin? Dapat honest ka. Na kung mali ka, sasabihin mo mali ka. And you have to check your work and correct it that one. Tama? Eh di ba hindi naman yun ang tinuturo sa public school eh. Di ba? They will ask you to take the exam one time tapos kung baksa ka, di baksa ka. Tama? So, ano ibig sabihin on the character of dishonesty? Nakakita niyo na ba yung meme? Yesterday, I saw a meme sa Facebook. Yung sa classmate niya, naging 100 siya. That's basically what I'm telling you. Kaya di ba ibang classmate na nag-uusap like, ikaw nang bahala dyan ha, palitan mo yung scores ha, palitan mo yung sagot, di ba? So that's my point. So, pedagogy yun, di ba? So, yun yung focus. It doesn't, maybe the facilities of that school will change, tama? Pero pwede rin hindi. Nakafocus siya doon sa operation. Pero maybe there's some manifestation na baka magbago yung space, yung architectural elements ng project mo. Pero saan ang focus? Sa pedagogy. Wala silang traditional na upuan na may desk na, alam mo yun sa traditional public school na classroom, yung merong naka-row, naka-column, di ba? Kulari, 40 students, 20-20 dito, di ba? Wala silang ganun. Ang setup nila, may sarili silang office. Tapos yung office nila, may sariling tapaho, mayroong sariling pader. Yung hindi nakikita yung kabila. Bakit? Kasi ang objective doon, you concentrate on what you're doing. Huwag kang tumingin sa katabi mo dahil yung katabi mo, walang kinalaman sa ginagawa mo. You focus on what you're doing. Nagets ha? So, that's their setup. So, yun yung tinatawag kong architectural manifestation ng interior. Architecture niya. Di ba? Wala silang desk. Wala silang tinatawag na school desk. Ang meron sila is what? An office. A small cubicle who they treat it as their own office. They customize that one. May sarili silang halaman doon, may sarili silang flag, whatever. They can decorate that space. So that's the architectural manifestation of that type of pedagogy. Okay?
Sponsor, thank you po.
Sige. Anything pa before we end? Can everyone open their cameras para magkaroon tayo ng group picture? Christine, i-screenshot mo to ha. Open your cameras guys para magkaroon tayo ng group picture. Okay. Sige, magsabi ka Tina kung magka-capture ka na or naka-capture ka na. Nagsasalita ka ba? Nagbibigay ka na ba ng cue?
Nakamute po pala. Okay po. 1.
Okay.
Naglalag. Naglalag siya.
Okay na?
Opo sir, nakuha ko na po. Naglalag po kasi yung internet na.
Okay, siguraduhin mo ha.
Opo, nakuha ko na po.
Sige, siguraduhin mo. Okay. Sige. So again, no, I think this is the first, still, no, this is a first thing na napakinggan nyo to, no? Kasi for some of you who attended up the previous thesis clinic, evolution na yun ng mga topics na dinidiscuss ko. But this is the first time, I guess, na napakinggan nyo siya. Although this is the first slides that I prepared, no? Also, thank you very much for the support ng mga apprentice ko from different schools, no? So, meron ako ditong mga estudyante at apprentice from PUP Manila, then also from De La Salle Dasma, and also from TIP Manila, no? So, and then hopefully I can upload it online, no? So, para makatulong. Now, for those who are interested or, someone na interested on the consultation, then we can discuss that one in a separate time, no? Para maintindihan nyo properly siya. Okay? Sige. So, again, maraming salamat. At sana na natutunan kayo, ha? Magamit nyo sana sa thesis ninyo. Okay?
For more concerns, you can contact us via email, phone number, or Facebook. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Twitter account, and Instagram account.